Hello, Taurus. Welcome to Ulai Tea Leaf Readings. My name is Lenor, and today I'm going to be reading your tea leaves. All right. Welcome, Taurus. Feels like it's been forever. It always feels like that. But I'm so happy to be here with you. We have my favorite card. Well, it depends on the day. It goes between the Four of Discs and the Knight of Cups. The Knight of Cups for me is all about the beloved. Okay? Now, this doesn't necessarily mean a physical person in, consensus reality that is a romantic partner or a companion or whatever. It doesn't have to have a corporeal body that is a physical form. This could be the anima. This could be the animus. This could be, any number of archetypes kind of, composited together. And it feels like in this situation, it's almost like a sudden, like a turn, like a sharp turn. I feel like there has been an amount of time here where you just are not interested in other people. I mean, in general. And maybe even not that interested in doing the inner work. Like you're doing the inner work, but maybe you're kind of resting. Like we need periods of slowdown. I don't care who you are. I don't care how, profoundly learned and involved in your individuation you are. There are times where we need to kind of chill a little bit, pump the brakes, get into that kind of incubation, right? The winter, get into the wintering. So I feel like probably you've been in that zone for a while. I don't know how long, but it feels like home. It feels familiar. It feels like, you've had a terrible day. You get home, you like crawl into bed with your clothes still on, which is like a huge no-no in my house. Do not wear your outside clothes into the bed. But sometimes it's like, man, it's just so much. The day has been so much. So many things have happened that I'm peace out. I'm going right to bed in my jeans. I don't even care. But suddenly there is this turn occurring. And it feels like belovedness. It feels like the rising of spirit. It feels like when you start waking up and instead of being like, the sun's getting in, you're like, oh, nice. It's going to be a pretty day today, I'll pick this up. So I feel like there's a lightening of your spirit. Absolutely. So let's go ahead. We have the number 145, and the number 763. So we have 145, 145, and then we also have the number 76 backwards 3. And let's see, we also have, it looks like the number 68. And maybe Catherine or Cat. I'm seeing K-A-T. So I feel like Cat. Katrina, something like that. Now, down here we have, it looks like a person. Here would the head would be right there. They're holding on to something. It reminds me of like a telescope. Like they're looking in a telescope and maybe wearing a dress or a kind of large robe, maybe a ceremonial robe. We have a person riding a horse up here. and also on the rim, which is the sacred, the metaphysical. So then we have up here a person standing, and it looks like that telescope is focused on this here. So we have the head here, here's the body, the legs, and in the hand, a 5. The number 5. So I do feel like there is a sense of watching from afar. Like, this almost looks like a boat on the ocean to me, right? In between these two. Now up here, it kind of almost looks like that 6 and that 8 are, here's a person with their hair flowing, and then here's the person with their arm raised, like they're, running and yelling. So I do feel that there is a sense of separation. It feels like oceans away from where it used to be. I also feel that you keep an eye on this person, like not like stalker vibes or anything, but I do feel it's almost kind of like, God forbid, right? Like your grown child goes no contact for some reason, and you are still able to see, like, the stuff they're posting or whatever, or vice versa. Maybe you've gone non-contact or whatever, or maybe your parent, maybe this is your parent that, you're going through setting boundaries or whatever. The dynamic feels like very strained, but there's still love there, because I think that you're watching each other, but there's almost kind of this like pridefulness or hard-headedness, bullheadedness, that you just can't bring yourself to apologize, or maybe it's almost like you understand where they're coming from. You understand what they believe or how they feel. You are empathetic to that even. But when it comes to having a direct conversation and just being super open about like, okay, I don't like all of this, but I can see where, and then whatever. But there's just something about your dynamic, and maybe even like, maybe this is kind of something that gets in your way a little bit, and it has in your life, that it's just hard for you to communicate things that feel sensitive, or kind of like it takes away from your authority, I guess, or maybe your autonomy or your perception of what happened, and you don't agree, and you're not willing to just, compromise or agree that you don't agree or whatever. It just feels like there's something in the way. And I'm guessing it's like old stuff, right? Like this is something that's happened over and over, whatever it is. So there's a sense of continuing to check in, but also I feel like there's a lot of like kind of lamenting and feeling heartbroken, and I don't know if it is like fresh, but I feel that over time it has it's something that like I feel like you just regret. You regret that it has gotten to where it is, Now, the person on the horse in this metaphysical, the person on the horse symbolizes movement, changing something in your life, okay? And doing that intentionally. Because riding a horse isn't something you just accidentally find yourself doing, right? Like, you could, like, kind of accidentally, I don't know, get into a car and go for whatever. There's not a lot of effort that goes into it, right? But riding a horse is a whole deal, especially if you're riding one with a saddle or whatever. You have to prepare the horse. Every step of the way, you're making intentional choices. So I feel like there is that higher thing, the daemon, the guardian angel, your higher thinking, whatever it is. I feel like it is really like on your shoulder telling you something has to change. Something has to change here. There's no way that you're ever going to be able to fully evolve as a person in the ways that I think that you really want to without addressing some of the stuff surrounding this dynamic. Okay. Now, that's not to say that you have to go and talk to the person. Okay. There might be a lot of trauma there between the two of you, or, maybe they caused trauma or whatever. It could be that this is a time where you're engaging in shadow work, inner child work. You might be doing the therapy thing. There's so many different modalities and interesting kinds of therapy. I'm super pro therapy. Now, don't take it as gospel, because it's not. It's just another tool. And there are a lot of different kinds of therapy, like I said, so there are many tools that you could use. But it's like anything else. You have to take it for what it is and use it to the degree that you're willing to. The work, you have to do the work. Nobody can do that for you, and the system can't do it for you, for sure. So I do feel like maybe this is a time where you're focusing on processing. You're focusing on figuring out, what are the things that are kind of rooted in this dysfunction, right? What is it? And what do I need to do? And to be honest with yourself, not the soft, idealized, placing blame on other things. No, really looking at yourself and thinking about, what did I do here? What have I done? What behaviors, what part have I played in the larger picture? And so I know it's not easy. I don't like it at all. I do not like putting myself on the spot in these ways. But I know that often if I get into a loop of disagreements with somebody, I really need, because there's something I've missed in myself here. I really need to look at, why am I engaging this? Why am I involved in this? What am I getting out of this? And, what happened to lead us here? And what was my role in that? And what could I have done differently? And so on and so forth, right? And it's not easy. It's not easy. But I'll tell you what, if you continue to do this kind of pulling apart the knots, it will get easier. You will almost automatically start to look at situations. And I'm not saying where you just start blaming yourself. That's not what I'm talking about here. You just internalize everything. Oh, it's my fault because I'm not, whatever, this or that. No, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about really taking responsibility and recognizing your motivations, your actions, and really, how those might be received by others. Now, you're not responsible for how they receive it, but you are responsible for your role, okay? And that's not easy. This is a lot where my work is heavy right now in my life, is taking responsibility. I maybe have, if you've heard on my readings, and I know I said maybe have, I do talk about it often, being neurodivergent and undiagnosed until way into adulthood, obviously, and trying to learn to, kind of undo a lot of the coping mechanisms and conditionings and deep traumas and, all that stuff. And the first steps I've had to take is looking at, how did this stuff affect the way that I treat others? Where have I, trespassed against others? Where have I been cruel? Where have I, whatever. And it's not easy. And I don't like it. But I have to do it. If I want to live, I have to do it. Because I'll tell you what, I will drown in the shame. I will drown in the anger. I will drown in the fear. I'm not willing to do that anymore. I don't want to be jealous. I don't want to be competitive. I don't want to, be critical of others just because, like, I think something I like is cooler or they're doing this. No, why would they do it that way? Who cares, Lenor? Who cares? Why are you wasting your breath on it? Why are you even, why don't you look at the situation and think, well, they're doing something. They're taking some interest in life. You know what I mean? Like, dang, And I feel like it's not easy. And I can feel pretty crummy when I'm taking inventory of my own stuff, right? But I promise you, it gets easier. And the more you do it, the more naturally it comes. It almost gets to a point where you stop doing and saying stuff, at least for the most part, that causes issues or pains with others, because you don't want to have to keep, going through these tough sessions with yourself. And then it just becomes second nature, because you recode yourself. You recode those neurons and the neural pathways. And it's like magic. It's like you're a wizard. It's like you're a magician. So I understand where it's like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to feel like the world is in chaos. I don't want to feel bad. Why would I sit here and think about the things I've done wrong, or, the things that I've said that were hurtful, or I've been aggressive or dismissive or whatever it is, right? Why would I do that on top of everything else? I'll tell you why. The only thing that is going to save us is doing the inner work. The only thing that is going to save us is doing the inner work. And I mean individually, and I mean collectively. The only thing that is going to save us is doing the inner work. Okay? So, it is our duty. It is our duty to, lift humanity up. To raise the vibration. To do the work that needs to be done. To go through the process of individuation. Now, I don't know about enlightenment or this or that. I don't know. But it's something similar. When we heal ourselves, we heal our communities. When we heal ourselves, we heal the people that we love. We heal the people, that are us. We are each other. We are interconnected. Even if you don't believe in like pantheism or something, there's no doubt that we have unseen interconnections. Okay? We are connected to each other. Even if you're out in the middle of nowhere, like me, I'm still I'm actually more potently connected to people psychically, I feel like. I'm away from the noise of the world, and now I can hear a lot of that stuff, right? So, the other thing I want to look at up here is somebody studying. And here's the deal. I feel like a lot of this is leading you to, look at that. It says L-I-E, lie. Okay, we're going to come back to that. That's the next thing. We're going to do oracle cards for that, because I'm nosy. And then it looks like it says the, T-H-E, and then S-H-I. honestly, to me, what it says in my head is somebody lied and the poo-poo hit the fan, right? Something happened. But the study, I feel like you are coming into a place where you're looking at some of these things that are very moving to you. Maybe they are spiritual, religious, philosophical, psychological topics. And that's what it feels like to me. But I feel like you're very drawn. You're very drawn in. But not like just like a mindless follower. Not like that. No, I feel like you're being introduced to things you've never heard of. Or you never had like a real idea of what it was. It's just kind of, some peripheral concept or whatever. And I feel like this is a time where you're spending a lot of energy into looking into stuff, like doing your own research. And I think that's so wonderful. It's empowering. I'm a sucker for research, and I could spend the rest of my life locked away probably just, looking for synchronicities and learning about all the symbolisms related to all day, forever. But I also feel like there's this thing that's just lingering. I feel like there's a real pull towards like almost like a monastic lifestyle. I'm looking at this. It reminds me of an ashram right here, the entrance, the gateway right here. So I do kind of feel, I almost wonder like what happened that you were feeling like pulling away, but also kind of like hiding yourself away from everybody. That's a big energy here. Okay, so we're going to look at this one. And then, look at it. It says you right there. Y-O-U. Let me see. Y-O-U. You. You can't. Did I just? No. I spilled tea. I thought I spilled it on the mixing board. Sorry. Y-O-U. And it does look like, it looks like it says I, and then there's two people here. And to me, it almost looks like a person on a boat. Right here, here's the head and the body, and there's the boat. But it also looks like this person is part of the boat. And it's almost kind of like, I carry you. I am, like part of, what's the word? It's not like the vessel, but it's like, almost like I contain a piece of you. That's what it feels like. I contain a fragment of you. I contain a piece of you. And I feel like there's almost this like endless devotion. There's an endless devotion with them. I think that they have passed, and I think this is a love that is so deep and so profound. It's like it spans lifetimes. I feel like this person is it's like they are a part of you. And I wonder if that's it. I wonder if that's one of the great sorrows of your life. Like you lost one of your soulmates. If it was romantic or if it was a good friend or a family member or whatever, I don't know exactly, but I feel like there's this sense of it's your duty to always have them with you. Like you carry them in your heart. The things that you do, you consider like, does this honor this person? Right? And leave it to a Taurus to be that sentimental, right? I love it. That's a very beautiful way to live. As long as it's not too limiting, right? Now, we're going to do a little of the oracle cards here, and I'm just going to go ahead and flip through. We're going to ask kind of, what was the thing about the lie? The lie, right? And it feels like the lie, and then, yeah, and the mess hit the fan, right? Everything is just, whew, it just got sprayed everywhere, right? Here we go. Let's just kind of shuffle. I mean, I cannot shuffle. Not these cards, at least. All right, so here we go. Drama. Drama, and that's the number 5. Remember, we saw, oh, and it's over here. We had that person holding the 5. So we have 5. Drama. Optimism. Lust. Generosity. Indecision. Defense. What is going on here? Okay, so there's drama, there's optimism, there's lust. Generosity, indecision, defense. I almost feel like it's a friendship that turns into maybe a physical attraction, maybe not to the level of like love, but maybe one person loves and the other person is more just like, yeah, we're really close and we're, we have this physical aspect or whatever. I feel almost like this, it's like a vacillating between being very generous, being very defensive, and causing drama. It's not a lot of in between. It's just like black and white thinking kind of vibes, like very like, you're the best thing in the whole world. And if you don't kind of reciprocate or, like do something in such a way that they find, very fulfilling, then immediately it's like, well, you don't care about me. You don't love me. Whatever. Or, I must have done something wrong. It must be my, this kind of, communication and energy. But still doesn't tell me about the why. Like, I want to know about what is the lie here? Okay, so ego. So maybe misleading a little bit. Devotion. Originality. Vision. Ooh, I see what's maybe going on here. Criticism. Okay. All right. So, I don't like this. I don't like it at all. But it feels to me almost like this person kind of stole your ideas or your work, or maybe you did like a collaborative thing together, or maybe it's like this is your best friend at work and you like did this whole project together and then they took all of the credit, right? So it feels like you're very original. You have the vision, right? You're a Taurus, dude. You're like Tauruses are the ultimate creative people. Absolutely eccentric in your ability to, for aesthetic and putting things together and just like seeing a whole vision of something. Like you're a world builder, right? And people are drawn to that, but you also get a lot of people who are very jealous, or, they feel entitled to like kind of take your style, or, just kind of like impose themselves into something that you're purely doing, right? And so anyways, I feel like this is their ego, right? But it's also bumping heads with yours, because let's face it, Taurus, you also have quite an ego, which isn't a bad thing. So I feel like the ego really sets things off, but their constant criticism. It's like they criticize what you're doing, but then like 2 months later, they're doing the same thing, acting like they were the first ones to do it, right? And I think that really gets you. You know, I feel like this person is really, they are devoted to being seen. This is like somebody who wants to be like an influencer or something. Like they're just addicted to being witnessed, you know, having some kind of clout, whatever it is, you know. So I do feel like the lie and the betrayal is, I was thinking it was going to be cheating. I don't think it's, I mean, they were cheating. But I think this is more along the lines of like they stole like intellectual property, or they took, you know, they're out here like dating and telling people they're dating that like, oh yeah, I totally like worked on this book with them, and like I totally wrote like most of it, you know, that like where it's like, bro, come on. Like, we all have the internet. We can all fact check what you're saying, you know? So anyways, I just think it's some kind of silliness. I don't know that it's to the level of falling out, but I think that it's not something you want to put up with, right? I don't see you putting up with it. Now, let's see. We have 10 as the first lucky number. Did I do the numbers already? I don't know. Let's see. 10, 71, and 2. Oh, well, I want to thank you so much for like, I don't know if you can tell or not. I'm super sick right now. So, I don't know if my Tylenol is like wearing off or what, but I'm starting to feel really bad. And I'm also sweating really bad from a fever. But I want to thank you for being here. You didn't need all that information, but I just wanted to let you in on my little shameful secret over here. I feel like I stink and I'm very hot. And my throat hurts. But anyways, I love you. Thank you for being here. If you want to like, subscribe, or leave a comment, I would love to hear from you. Other than that, I don't know. Take care of yourself. Be kind to each other. You know, do that work. I promise you it is worth it. It's not easy. Like, don't be mistaken in that doing processing work, doing shadow work, doing inner child work, individuation, self-alchemy, you know, whatever. These are not blissful things. There are moments, little moments where you do feel happy and you do feel invigorated and you do feel whole and beloved and you know, as if you're standing in the sunlight. But that's not all of it. I would say the majority of it, especially in those first Saturnine stages, it's very difficult. It's very destabilizing. It can be very painful, traumatic. So you have to be careful. And also you need a support system of some kind. If it's a counselor, a therapist, a family member, a good friend, somebody to check in with. You know, so, but it's worth the work. I can't emphasize it enough. It's worth the work. And it's, as I said, I really believe it will be the only thing that might save us. You know, whatever that means, I don't know. But I do. I think that it's the only thing that will give us a chance, right? So, anyways, here's to transmuting both mind, body, and spirit. Amen. And I love you. We'll talk soon. Take care of yourself. Good night.